Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you're logging in from. My name is Michael Firth. I'm one of the founding Field Advisory Board members with Numi, and it is my pleasure every so often to do these amazing interviews, which we call the New You Interview Series with Numi. Now, we have a belief that you get to the head with a fact, but you get to the heart with a story. And the idea is we're going to table our amazing science about the hydrostat nanotechnology breakthrough for you today in just a quick 2-minute video. And then we're going to have some stories with real examples of real people around the world that are having fantastic results with the product. And that'll obviously hit home how powerful the breakthrough is that we have in our hands. What I'd love you to do, though, is today we are live streaming right around the world. I know there are people logging in from Australia, New Zealand, the USA, Canada, the Philippines, Latin America, the UK, Africa. I could go on, but there's so many people logging in. Do me a favor, type in the chat exactly where you're logging in from. And what we'll do during the event, we'll just table some of that so we can see the scope that we get. Now, today, this interview is a little different than normal. We've interviewed people right across the world in different countries. Today, we're interviewing just a number of the people in the Philippines with different demographics, different age groups, which will give you a really good indication of the amazing impact of this, no matter what age group people are in. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off with a very quick video.
Remember when this was the best delivery method for music? Remember when this was the best delivery method for supplements? Every industry evolves and improves with new breakthroughs in science and technology. Here at Numi, we've used a proprietary technology to solve an issue that's been around since nutritional supplementation began: the problem of absorption. So many of today's supplements are less effective due to their inability to be absorbed naturally by the body. Using our own proprietary hydrostat nano delivery breakthrough, we reduce the particle size of critical nutrients smaller than ever before, allowing them to absorb in your mouth while swishing for 30 seconds or more. Glutathione is your body's master antioxidant. It's responsible for boosting your energy, detoxifying cells, reducing inflammation, and boosting the immune system. If glutathione is so amazing, why have you never heard of it? Because glutathione is extremely fragile, and if taken orally, it will be destroyed via the digestive process, rendering it virtually useless to the body. Until now, NutraSwish applies nanotechnology to achieve maximum absorption. Now, glutathione and other nutrients can be absorbed simply and quickly by swishing in the mouth instead of being destroyed in the stomach. Using this same nanotechnology, we've created the ultimate skincare product, Numi Skin. We've been able to achieve unparalleled absorption for key ingredients, including collagen, hyaluronic acid, and more. Some of the top skin experts in the world work together to create the ultimate blend of skin-enhancing nanonutrients, creating the most amazing before and after results. With our nano solution, you no longer have to wait months to experience the effects of skincare and supplementation. Our customers are noticing a difference within a matter of days. Don't wait to look, feel, and live your best life. A new you starts with Numi.
All right, so that video gives you a really good indication on our amazing breakthrough. No one has anything remotely like what we do in our hands. Now, for those brand new people who don't understand this, it doesn't matter what age group you are. The experts say that your glutathione levels are at their optimal about 20 years of age, and then they decrease, as it said, 10 to 15% per decade, even in a healthy individual. So supplementing glutathione is such an important thing, reducing inflammation, boosting your energy, detoxing your cells, so many benefits. So we aim to illustrate that today with a very diverse group of people from different age groups and backgrounds. So to kick off, the first thing I'd like to do is I'm going to interview Joey from the Philippines. Now, Joey is 24 years of age, and he's in the Philippines national water polo team. So welcome, Joey. So first thing I'd love you to do, Joey, is maybe tell everybody, what are you training for right now?
We have a competition coming up in May in Singapore. It's called the Internations Cup. So basically it's an invitation, but the big one is probably in September, which is the Asian Games, and that's our main focus for this year.
Fantastic. Now, I understand that your mother was once associated with our founder, Steve Scott, with his original glutathione precursor product many years ago. And for me, I find precursors 13 years ago when I was involved with that were fantastic. Now, of course, every industry advances and hydrostat nano delivery is totally a game changer in a totally different space. So what are the sort of benefits that you found firstly with the old technology? Because I know you were using that as well.
Oh, it was good for me as an athlete, especially as a young athlete. It was good for me for recovery, and it keeps me going throughout trainings to sustain me. It's good for my endurance, and it eliminated fatigue almost immediately afterwards. And I don't really feel like I don't feel body aches or anything like that after training with the old product.
Isn't that interesting? Here I am, 53 years of age, and when I hear a young person like you say body aches and pains, I'm like, wow. So, having said that, I know in our pre-interview you talked about the fact that you had an injury, an old injury, you said, and an assisted with that. And I remember saying old injury when you're 24 years of age. How old can that be? So, tell us a little bit about how that impacted you.
So yeah, I got that injury in Singapore. It was basically Asian Championships, and I got tangled up with a player from Kazakhstan, and so I injured my shoulder. And now that I'm still nursing it now, because you know, um, injuries doesn't really go away just like that. Until now, I'm still nursing it from time to time. It would hurt. Um, it would it would give me spasms, especially around the back. And but now with Numi, I can I have better endurance, and actually I'm slowly getting back to my form when where I can throw better, and I got my I get my strength back, especially in trainings now that we just got back from 2 years of irregular training because of the pandemic. So yeah, Yumi's been really a huge help for my injury and everything else.
So a quick question on that one. So I understand with the whole pandemic around the world that you've only just been able to start training again quite recently, and that's when you started using the new breakthrough with the Hydrostrat Numi breakthrough. And so, what have you found? With that, changing from an old precursor to the nano products with us.
Um, what I noticed is that it's actually faster in terms of effect, which is really important. And in terms of recovery, I feel its effect. Um, the effects are longer lasting, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and especially after trainings where usually I tend to feel the fatigue whenever from training after I finish with the old product. Of course, I take it. I'd have to wait a while for it to feel its effects before
Mm-hmm.
I actually start feeling recovered. But with Yumi, after every training, while I'm still on the way home, I already feel rested with it. So
Brilliant.
that's better for me. And as well, most importantly, it's way cheaper.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's huge.
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But pretty much, I have the same great experience with both products, but with Yumi, it's just more faster and longer lasting.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing. I think it's been great to hear from somebody in the younger age group who's in a high-level international sort of sports field saying, hey, old precursors were great, getting similar results here, faster results, much cheaper results, which is good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to segue to Mina. Now, Mina is also from the Philippines, and coincidentally, Mina happens to be Joey's mother. Now, she's 54 years of age, so welcome, Mina.
Hello, Michael, and thank you for having me here.
My pleasure. Now, I understand, obviously, you've also been supplementing glutathione in the past using, precursors and older technology for about 10 years. What was the first thing you noticed with the older sort of technology?
Okay, the first thing I noticed when I was on that old glutathione supplement I was taking is I got better sleep quality. That even with a few hours of sleep, I feel really well rested when I wake up in the morning. And I'm almost always ready for the day. The second thing
Fantastic.
is I also felt the increase in energy that I am able to do more during the day. And I had this accident sometime in 1992. That's about 30 years ago when I fell off the stairs. And that resulted to a recurring low back pain, which goes on and off, on and off. It's not always there, but when I do chores that requires a lot of stooping down, that's when I can feel the pain. And it got worse when I gave birth to my firstborn child, that I felt like an old lady that hunched over. I cannot just, from sitting down, I cannot just go straight up and walk normally. It would take minutes before I can do that. That's how painful it was during that time. So it comes and goes. And when I started on the glutathione precursors, that was almost gone. The pain is gone.
Okay. Interesting. Now, I understand there's a big gap between when you were using those glutathione precursors to now when you're supplementing using the nano breakthrough, which, as we've just discussed with Joey, has had an amazing effect on him. So it's only about 3 weeks ago since you started using our product. What's the first thing you noticed?
So again, the first 2 days, Swish made me sleep because I think that's what my body demands, because I usually sleep very late at night, sometimes 2 a.m. in the morning, and it's so made me a bit hard to get some sleep. And that's the very first thing I noticed. I have better sleeping patterns now. And so getting up out of bed is now easier. And then again, I have increased energy level. Yeah, so I can do more again during the day with all the household chores. And incidentally, days before Swish came, my lower back pain is acting up again. So right after the products arrived, I immediately took the Swish, and I didn't notice a day or two, the pain is already gone. That I had really had to test it. I went stooping down, sweeping the floor, doing the chores that I do that where I normally feel the pain. It was gone, and it was marvelous.
Fantastic. Now, I know you're what I would call a young 54-year-old, because I'm 53 and I don't feel old, but you mentioned to me that you have more energy now and you've started to do more intense exercise. Tell us about that.
Oh, yes. Before I used to do the safest form of exercises because of my age. So I'm just doing normally walking exercises. But then again, with Swish on hand, I tried just recently, I tried doing intense arm exercises and did planking. So normally, if you haven't done these exercises for quite a long time, you really anticipate that the following day there would be pains all over in the abs and in the arms, because I could really feel the burning during the exercise. And I was so surprised that the following day there was none of that. No
You're
sore
right.
muscles at all.
Fantastic. Well, I can relate to that because I'm doing a bit of Pilates at the moment, and planking is the one thing I don't look forward to. So tell me, so you've also been using our Numi skin spray as well, which is the nano skin spray that will absorb into the skin as well. What have you noticed with that?
oh, I love what Numi is doing with my skin right now. Because for the longest time, this is my uh, first and foremost concern because I have a very sensitive skin. My skin is always irritated, especially in the face area. So I tend to peel like thick, flaky skins all over my face. And that keeps my skin very, very dry and a lot of rashes later, red spots. And the day after I used Numi, I used it the night before, the first time. The following morning, the hydration is immediately there. So I didn't feel that tightness and dryness at all with Numi skin. And then on the third day, I was surprised. I was looking at the mirror and I saw that my pores seemed to shrink. I used to have big spores around my nose and this cheek area. And I noticed that, oh, my pores are gone. And it's only been 3 days, you know? And then Numi skin in the morning after, on the third day, yeah, the pores weren't visible anymore. And on my third week right now, my skin is softer, it's smoother, it is well hydrated, the skin rashes had been healed, and has much more even skin tone. So it's only
Fantastic.
the third
That
week.
is awesome. That is brilliant to hear. Well, thank you for sharing. This has been great. So now we've had someone who's quite young in intense sport getting much more results. We've had somebody who's a very young 54, because that's young. Now what we're going to do is bring on another friend of mine, which is Joe. Now, Joe is from the Philippines. He's 62 years of age, and Joe's been very successful in not just conventional business with everything from linen to fertilizer, but he's also been super successful in the network marketing industry and had over 1 million people in his business in the past. So with that, I would love to welcome Joe to the call.
Hi, Michael. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Michael.
So, Joe, thanks for joining us. Now, in your case, you haven't supplemented glutathione before. So what was the first thing you noticed when you took our products?
I didn't notice anything immediately because, and I think I've discussed this with my friends a couple of times, because I'm naturally very hyper. I'm naturally very energetic. I noticed it because, like you said, I never took glutathione before. But of course, when I got my products, I started taking it immediately. Now, I just started playing golf again recently, about maybe 5-6 months ago. And about 2 months ago, this is before Numi, before I was taking the Nutri Switch, I had played golf with a friend of mine. And, after 11, 12 holes, I wanted to quit. I was like so tired. But, since you paid for 18 holes, I'm going to soldier through this and play the 18 holes. And, my ankles were so swollen because even though I exercise a lot, since I don't walk a lot, the walking muscles in my ankles and my knees were getting sore. The next day, my ankles are very sore and all that. Then fast forward to when I started taking Numi, I think about 7 or 8 days after taking it, what do you call this? I played the same golf course, same time, everything. And this time, after 18 holes, I was ready to play. I was ready to play another 18. My ankles were fine. The next day, my ankles weren't swollen, which for a 62-year-old, that's a big deal. And then a week after that, I played in another golf course here called Canlubang. Same thing. After 18 holes, I was ready to play another 18. In fact, I was like, let's go, let's play another 18. And my friends were like, come on, Joe, don't you get tired? And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So, and then of course, the same like Joey and Divina, I do a lot of working out at home. And I felt I could work out much, much harder. And my recovery time, I'm not as sore the next day, which it was just a big deal. Because, when you're sore, you don't feel like exercising, even though that's what you're supposed to do when you're sore. But yeah, then recently, my mom and my wife, who also both take NutriSwitch, they've been noticing that, you're more hyper than usual. You're more energetic, you're more hyper than your usual self. So yeah, it's had a very, very positive effect.
Now, on that note, what your wife's noticed, I noticed that you'd said to me in the past too that you have had a massive sleep improvement. Tell us a bit about that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been chronic insomniac since I was in seventh grade. You know, I'm not actually 7 years old. I meant, but and it's been that way. Also, and it was exacerbated by the fact that I didn't like to sleep. You know, when I was young, get 8 hours of sleep. I used to think, you know, that's 1/3 of my life asleep. So coupled with the fact that I was insomniac and the fact that didn't want to sleep, I'm like, I love life too much to sleep 1/3 of my day. So because of that, all the way up to recently, I've had really, really, you know, bad sleep problems. And as everybody knows now, all the research shows that you need at least 7, 8 hours of sleep a day, and even a 1 hour loss is a big deal. So now, after taking probably about 7 or 8 days, I wake up one morning, you know, and my wife was looking at me. I don't know if you ever had that, but I was like, whoa. And she said, you know, she said, you know, you sleep before I do nowadays, which, you know, I've known my wife for 45 years. That's never happened. It's just,
Wow.
she usually falls asleep first. In fact, I watch her because she's the type, you know, I kiss her goodnight. She puts her head on the pillow and she falls asleep, you know, I've seen too many sunsets waiting to fall asleep. Sorry, sunrises. And, you know, we watch Netflix and YouTube. I fall asleep. So it's great. It's, you know, I fall asleep much earlier. I sleep longer. And when I do wake up in the middle of the night, I fall asleep much, like almost immediately. So it's really great.
Yeah. Wow.
It's had, like I said earlier, very positive effects for me.
Brilliant. Now, I'm a sensitive new age guy. You're not vain. I'm not vain. However, we're both using the Numi skin spray. What have you noticed with that?
I just started using it more for. I used to be really, really fat, so I had a lot of turkey skin on my neck, and it was only the other day when I was doing a Zoom meeting with some members and their prospects. They said, "Can you what do you call this? Can you show some before and after?" And I remembered I took some before, and you know, I didn't realize there was much when we spoke before. I didn't really. I forgot that I took pictures of it. The only problem I have with Numi Skin is that my wife and I ran out after 2 weeks because we're arguing about we're fighting over who gets to spray first. Okay, so we're waiting for our product to come. But yeah, like you, Michael, I've never really been vain about my skin, but again, it's my mom and my wife saying, you know, your skin is so much better now. I have people that I talk to that I haven't met in a long time. He goes, hey, what's up with your skin? And I'm like, I never used to get those comments before. And I'm like, I didn't know you cared about my skin, but yeah, you know, I guess my skin is my. I've never had dry skin. I've never had oily skin, but everybody says my skin's glowing. You know, my skin's better. So I guess they're not gonna lie to me.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're waiting for our new products to arrive.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, all right. Thank you for sharing, Joe. So as we can see, guys, we had a really good cross section tonight. High-level sports athlete in their 20s, a very young 54-year-old lady, right? And someone 62, that's young too, Joe, but someone who's, you know, feeling much younger than they did and again, looking much younger as well. So thank you for joining us today on the new interview series. What I'd encourage you to do right now is get hold of the product and try it yourself. Reach out to the person who sent you to this video, and we'll see you on the next interview series. All the best.